Hello there, you're watching Nightline and I'm Anita Wu. The top stories. Stalled Bandar Malaysia development project officially revived with GDV of 140 billion ringgit. And Pakistan's former President Musharraf sentenced to death for treason. We begin with this story. The stalled Bandar Malaysia development project at Jalan Sungai Besi in Kuala Lumpur was officially revived at a signing ceremony in Putrajaya on Tuesday. Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad said that the project, with a gross development value GDV of 140 billion ringgit, will have a significant impact on Malaysia's economy, as it will serve as a magnet for high-impact global multinationals.
The Premier, who witnessed the signing of the agreement to develop the project between TRX-CT Sdn Bhd or TRXC and IWH-CREC Sdn Bhd, also said that the project, which will take over 20 years to complete, will shape the direction of Kuala Lumpur's development over the next few decades.
The Bandar Malaysia project should be viewed in the context of a long-term development of over 20 years, or how it will have the opportunity to help shape Kuala Lumpur's direction in the next few decades. How, as a potential transport hub, it will change the way people travel. How, as a commercial center, it can provide continuous boost for trade and innovation. And how, as a livable and sustainable development in this age of environmental consciousness, it can be a model of quality city living.
The Prime Minister also highlighted that Bandar Malaysia is testimony to the ability of Malaysia and China to collaborate for the benefit of the rakyat. E-commerce giant Alibaba and telecommunications company Huawei have shown interest in opening their regional hubs at Bandar Malaysia, which will be a mixed-use, transit-oriented development. Located at the site of the former Royal Malaysian Air Force Base, it is the largest piece of development land in the heart of Kuala Lumpur. The 486-acre project was reinstated by the Pakatan Harapan government after the Cabinet decided in April that it will have a positive impact on the economy as well as help lure foreign investment.
Meanwhile, the government will go ahead with the Kuala Lumpur-Singapore High-Speed Rail, HSR, after making some adjustments to reduce the project's costs. Tun Dr. Mahathir said the government is in the midst of a project review exercise and scaling down the project might keep costs at a manageable level.
We would like to spend less money. It's very expensive, this high-speed rail. But maybe we can scale down or do some adjustments in order to reduce the cost, and maybe less speed would contribute towards reduction of the cost.
The HSR, spanning 350 kilometres, was targeted to reduce travel time between KL and Singapore to 90 minutes. The service is expected to start from Bandar Malaysia and end at Jurong East in Singapore. The project was deferred in September last year after Malaysia agreed to pay an abortive cost of some 45 million ringgit to Singapore. Tun Dr. Mahathir had later announced that HSR operations would start in January 2031. The Prime Minister's office on Tuesday clarified that the Kuala Lumpur Summit, or KL Summit 2019, taking place from Wednesday to Saturday, is not intended to create a new bloc, as alluded to by some of its critics. In addition, it said the summit is not a platform to discuss religion nor religious affairs, but specifically to address the state of affairs of the Muslim Ummah.
The PM's office in a statement said, as a small nation, Malaysia is fully aware of its limitations and capabilities. It said Kuala Lumpur was merely attempting to contribute what little it can to the betterment of Muslims. The statement pointed out that the KL Summit, which is into its 5th edition, is a non-governmental organisation initiative supported by the Malaysian government. It came against the backdrop of a report which alleged that Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad had said that the KL summit was intended to be a platform to replace the Organisation of Islamic Cooperation, OIC. The PM's office said the report contained some misinformation that Tun Dr. Mahathir would like to correct. The statement noted that members of the Muslim community are currently faced with oppression, the incarceration of millions, placed in detention camps, as well as affected by civil wars, resulting in total destruction of cities and nations, leading to mass migration of displaced Muslims to non-Muslim countries. It said they also have to contend with the rise of Islamophobia and irrational practices that go against the tenets of Islam, yet proclaimed to be in the name of Islam. The statement noted that for this summit, only a few national leaders have been asked to participate. But Malaysia wishes to reiterate that all 56 countries of the Islamic world were invited and all 56 are represented at various levels.
Extreme human interference of nature and natural resources have led to an increase of natural disasters. Sultan of Perak, Sultan Nazrin Shah, said trees and forests, which were crucial in controlling climate change and global warming, were no longer seen as an important element that needs to be protected.
Speaking during the launch of 40 Hadis Pelestarian Alam Sekitar book, authored by Professor Datuk Sri Dr. Zaini Ujang and Professor Datuk Dr. Zulkifli Muhammad Yusof at University Technology Malaysia Kuala Lumpur campus on Tuesday, Sultan Nazrin said trees and forests are viewed as sources for timber that can be sold for profit, causing rampant illegal logging caused by human greed. He stressed that without trees and forests, all the benefits of nature are lost. The number of plants and animals would decline along with damages in natural habitats. Sultan Nazrin added, based on 2017 data by the Department of Environment, there were 579 rivers in 2008, but now there were only 477 left, with only 219 categorized as clean. The ruler said the world needs 4 more people like Ahmad Izzuddin Ahmad Izham, who was the recipient of Tuanku Bainun Foundation Award for his effort to conserve the environment and sea turtles. Puah Lei Peng, an environmentalist who has been championing environmental issues as well as exposing illegal plastic recycling factories and imported waste, and teenage climate campaigner Greta Thunberg.
Setiap hujung minggu, beliau membuat kek dan kuih untuk dijual. Dan hasil daripada jualan disumbangkan kepada dana membersihkan pantai dan melindungi tempat penyu bertelur. Beliau turut mengarang sebuah buku resipi, In the Kitchen with Izzuddin. Beliau menghasilkan 15,000 keping kuih, menderma RM5,000 dan menyertai program pembersihan pantai sekurang-kurangnya 2 kali setahun.
The federal court has fixed April 20th next year for the hearing of former police commando Azila Hadri's application for a review of his conviction and death sentence over Altan Tuya Sharibu's 2006 murder. According to Azila's counsel, J. Kuldeep Kumar, his client wants the Apex Court to set aside its 2015 decision to uphold his conviction. He also is seeking a retrial over the Mongolian's murder.
Azila's lawyer Kuldeep on Tuesday confirmed that the application for a review was filed at the federal court last week.
There is a 137 application, Rule 137 application, and there's a review application supported by an affidavit. That's all I can say for the time being.
The former policeman, who is on death row at the Kajang prison, also filed his statutory declaration together with an affidavit to support the review bid. In his October statutory declaration, Azila claimed Datuk Sri Muhammad Najib Tun Razak, as the then Deputy Prime Minister, had in 2006 allegedly given him the orders to kill Altan Tuya and dispose of a body with explosive. Datuk Sri Najib has, however, dismissed Azila's claims as a complete fabrication and maintained his innocence while also welcoming police investigations into the allegations. In 2015, the Federal Court reversed the Court of Appeal's acquittal of Azila and former police commando Sirul Azhar Umar, reinstating the High Court's conviction and mandatory death sentence on the duo over Al-Tantuya's murder.
Meanwhile, Datuk Seri Najib will file an application to intervene in Azila's review application. The former Prime Minister's lawyer, Tan Sri Muhammad Shafi Abdullah, said that his client has a quote-unquote direct interest in the matter.
And the court cannot make decision against anybody who is condemned in the proceedings without that person being in the court to be given the right to answer, right? Because as far as our client is concerned, this is an application based on an affidavit, and he has, as you can see from his reply, he has totally denied everything that has been alleged.
He also questioned why the allegations have resurfaced after 10 years. Tan Sri Shafi claimed the allegations might be politically motivated and believed that the other accused, Sirul Azhar, could also be making the same move. He alleged that several people are persuading Sirul Azhar, who is currently in detention in Australia, to come up with something similar.
In another development, the father of Al-Tantuya, Dr. Sharibu Setef, has renewed his call to reopen investigations into his daughter's murder 13 years ago, following Azila's revelation. In an email statement through his lawyer Munsar Mijidor, he said it is an opportunity for the Malaysian government to clear its name at the international level relating to the murder case. Mijidor reportedly said Setef is in hospital and would issue a more detailed statement in the next few days. Ram Kalpa Singh, another lawyer acting for the Mongolian's family, has called for fresh inquiries in the case. He said if those allegations proved to be true, there must be prosecution of those involved, despite Azila and Sirul Azhar having been convicted by the Federal Court for the murder. Ram Kalpa also pointed out that there was no statute of limitations in criminal cases.
The Malaysian Investment Development Authority, MIDA, expects more applications on green-related projects in 2020. For the first 9 months of this year, MIDA had approved 374 green-related projects worth 2.86 billion ringgit. While as of November 2019, the authority had received 10 green-related applications with investments of 76.2 million ringgit subsequent to interest expressed at the International Green Tech and Eco Product Exhibition and Conference Malaysia, IGEM 2019.
This is an indication of the encouraging trend of investment leads in the areas of green technology within the country. Hence, MIDA will continue to engage and participate in this commendable event to encourage more investments in green projects, providing the necessary facilitation to the stakeholders.
Dato' Azman said this after the IGEM 2019, with the event achieving almost 6 billion ringgit in business leads, surpassing all targets. He also added that the Energy, Science, Technology, Environment and Climate Change Ministry, MESTEC, has set a target of 3.4 billion ringgit in business leads, with 420 exhibitors and 42,000 visitors from 42 countries for next year. Lembaga Tabung Haji TH anticipates a higher dividend or hibah for the financial year 2019. Its Group Managing Director Nik Muhammad Hasudin Yusof said TH's financial performance had been very positive in the third quarter of this year and is on the right track. For the financial year 2018, TH paid a dividend of 1.25%, totaling 913 million ringgit to its depositors. As of November last year, TH had 8.71 million depositors, including 87,000 new savings accounts. TH's third quarter performance was good, with total assets continuing to surpass liabilities by 2.3 billion ringgit, higher than the 1 billion ringgit recorded in 2018. While the net profit stood at 500 million ringgit, bringing the total profit for the first 9 months to 1.3 billion ringgit. Next on Nightline, suspected Daesh members charged in Sepang. This and more local stories when we return. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Nightline, still on home news. 2 suspected Daesh members were charged in separate sessions courts in Sabang, Selangor, with travelling abroad with the intention to commit terrorism. 34-year-old Ahmad Naim Zaid and Muhammad Azmir Ramlan, aged 40, returned to the country last month after being expelled from Syria.
Ahmad Naim was charged with travelling from Malaysia with the intention to commit terrorism in Syria on March 11, 2015. He allegedly committed the offence at the Kuala Lumpur International Airport on the same date. The court then set January 20th for mention. At a separate court, Muhammad Azmir was accused of committing the same offence on July 3, 2014. The court then set January 10th for mention. The duo were charged under the Penal Code and face a jail term of up to 30 years and a fine if convicted.
In Sabah, police have busted a housebreaking and car theft gang with the arrest of 4 people, including its mastermind, in the state capital recently. Dubbed Geng Lios, the group were actively involved in burglary and stealing vehicles in Kota Kinabalu, Kudat, Ranau, Tawau, Penampang and Papa for the past 3 months.
The arrest of the suspects, aged between 20 and 24, came following a robbery report lodged in Kota Kinabalu on September 9th. Acting on a tip-off, police raided an apartment in Telipok on Thursday and apprehended the ringleader, his girlfriend, as well as another man and a woman, believed to be involved in the buying and selling of gold jewellery.
Jadi soal siasatan lanjut juga, dapati kumpulan ini mempunyai seramai lebih kurang 8 orang rakan sejenayah mereka, yang mana di antara mereka masih ada bebas lagi seramai 4 orang. Jadi bukti-bukti 4 orang ini kita telah kenal pasti.
At least 15 cases involving losses amounting to 700,000 ringgit have been solved following the arrest. Authorities also recovered stolen items such as cash in several foreign currencies, handbags, jewellery and handphone. Police also managed to retrieve 2 stolen vehicles bearing fake plate registration number.
Still to come, Turkish opposition mayor among 200 detained. The details after this breather. Onto the foreign front. In Pakistan, a special court in Islamabad on Tuesday has sentenced Pakistan's former president and former military ruler Pervez Musharraf to death on charges of high treason and subverting the constitution in a case that has been pending since 2013.
According to details, the verdict was announced by a 3-member bench comprising Chief Justice of Peshawar High Court Waqar Seth, Justice Nazar Akbar of Sindh High Court, and Justice Shahid Karim of Lahore High Court. During the hearing, Justice Seth said that Musharraf has been found guilty of violating the Article 6 of the Constitution by clamping the state of emergency on November 3, 2007. The special court ruled on the death sentence by a 2-to-1 majority, with one of the 3 judges not backing the death sentence but agreeing on the conviction. However, the 76-year-old former leader, who has lived in self-imposed exile in Dubai in the United Arab Emirates for more than 3 years, has the option to appeal the verdict. Musharraf wielded absolute power after he took control of Pakistan in a military coup in 1999, ruling the South Asian country for 9 years before being removed when his political party was routed in a general election. He's the first military ruler to ever stand trial in Pakistan for overruling the constitution.
An opposition mayor was among some 200 people detained in Turkey on Tuesday over suspected ties to the group blamed for a 2016 coup attempt. Following the arrests, Burak Oz, the mayor of Urla district in the Aegean coastal province of Izmir, became the first local authority from the CHP to be arrested since elections in March. The CHP has since denounced the arrest of Oz and denied allegations of links with Gülen. The detentions came after the capital's public prosecutor issued arrest warrants for 260 suspects accused of using the encrypted Bylock messaging application, which authorities believe was used to coordinate the coup bid. It's understood that police have detained 171 people in Ankara alone, while another 18 suspects, including 10 doctors, were sought in a second probe. Britain's newly elected Prime Minister Boris Johnson revealed on Tuesday that his government will be adding a new clause to the Brexit bill to rule out any extension to the transition period beyond the end of next year. According to Boris, his cabinet is working on amending the withdrawal agreement bill so that the transition, which is also known as the implementation period, must end on 31st December 2020, and there will be no request to the EU for a further extension. It is also understood that the post-Brexit transition period, due to conclude in December 2020, can currently be extended by a mutual agreement of up to 2 years. However, an amended withdrawal agreement, Bill the Commons, that is set to be put on a vote on Friday, would rule out any extension.